The Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 villain, the High Evolutionary, will be played by Chiwetel Ejiofor in the MCU. In Marvel Comics, the High Evolutionary was crucial to the origin of Adam Warlock, who in turn will be played by Will Poulter in the MCU. Debuting in 1966, Chiwetel Ejiofor's MCU character is a brilliant scientist with a penchant for genetic manipulation, with a particular interest in elevating animals to intelligent self-awareness. Undoubtedly, the High Evolutionary's debut in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, considering his comic book history, makes him an interesting fit for the MCU's multiverse saga. Indeed, the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 trailer hints heavily at the third, and, possibly, last, Guardians of the Galaxy movie being the darkest chapter in the cosmic team's history, and there's no better villain to deliver such a climactic event than the High Evolutionary. The inclusion of GAURDIans High Evolutionary could go a long way towards tying up some loose ends and providing some much-needed answers, especially when it comes to Rocket Raccoon and Adam Warlock. Here's who the High Evolutionary is in the comic books and how the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 villain could alter the course of the MCU. Introduced in the pages of Thor, Guardians 3 bad guy High Evolutionary factored heavily into the stories of several major Marvel Comics heroes. In fact, a 2010's Marvel Comics retcon made him the character responsible for Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver's powers. The God of Thunder, Black Knight, Adam Warlock, and Spider-Woman have all been impacted by his presence in their lives as well. Formerly known as Herbert Wyndham, the High Evolutionary was an incredibly intelligent human biologist who grew up in England. As his title implies, Wyndham became obsessed with the concept of evolution. As a result of his interest in the field, Wyndham decided to play God and used science to manually evolve animals and humans. At some point, he relocated to Mount Woundaggery and transformed a group of animals into talking, humanoid characters collectively known as the New Men. It's currently unknown how much of the character's comic book backstory will factor into the High Evolutionary's role as the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 villain. Predictably, in the comics, being based at Mount Woundaggery created major problems for the High Evolutionary. Unbeknownst to him at first, Woundaggery was the secret location of Than, a demonic god who had been imprisoned there thousands of years ago. After becoming aware of Than's existence, the High Evolutionary appointed the New Men as the Knights of Woundaggery and took measures to ensure that Than remained a prisoner of the mountain. His commitment to this goal caused him to form separate, temporary alliances with Black Knight and Quicksilver during the 1990s. High Evolutionary is also credited with being the character who kicked off Adam Warlock's Marvel Comics journey. In the 1970s, he named him Warlock and entrusted him with the Soul Stone. Sending the character on a mission to defeat one of his creations, a villain called the Man-Beast, is what really made Adam Warlock into a hero. The High Evolutionary has certainly done some good in the Marvel Universe, but that doesn't take away from his well-earned reputation as a villain. His efforts to evolve people, oftentimes against their will, have brought him into conflict with the Avengers, the Hulk, Khazar, the X-Men, and the Fantastic Four. In some stories, the High Evolutionary was presented as a cosmic threat. Over the years, his activities in the universe have attracted the attention of beings as powerful as Galactus and the Celestials. In the MCU, GAURDIans High Evolutionary could encounter similar problems/opportunities. The High Evolutionary's experiments in the comics extend far beyond the New Men, Quicksilver, and Scarlet Witch. Decades ago, the character succeeded in evolving himself. The transformation he went through enhanced his intellect to a point that it outclasses the potential of any normal human. Even the Fantastic Four's Reed Richards, Dr. Doom, Iron Man, and Hank Pym aren't on his level in regard to scientific knowledge. The High Evolutionary's brain is so advanced that he was able to engineer his own planet. In the 1970s, he created a replica of Earth called Counter-Earth and populated it with its own human societies and culture. Remarkable intellectual feats such as this prove that, in a multiverse full of super geniuses, it's rare the High Evolutionary isn't the smartest person in the room. The High Evolutionary's intelligence isn't his only asset, he's a formidable fighter too. The evolutionary process he went through in his early years gifted him with superhuman strength, durability, the ability to project blasts of energy from his hands, and more. He also wears a specially designed suit capable of withstanding attacks from characters as strong as Thor and Hulk. High Evolutionary is the villain who will face off against Star-Lord's team after the Guardians' appearance in Thor, Love and Thunder and the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. His involvement will have major implications for the story, especially since it will include both Adam Warlock and Rocket Raccoon. The High Evolutionary has no confirmed link to Rocket in the comic, but that doesn't matter. The MCU establishing a connection between them would make perfect sense. Given Rocket's nature and the mystery surrounding his origin, it wouldn't be surprising at all if he turned out to be a creation of the MCU's High Evolutionary and one of his new men. The Guardians meeting, and battling, the High Evolutionary can be how Marvel finally explains Rocket's origin and ends his arc at the same time. The High Evolutionary's motives haven't been revealed, but there's a good chance he'll be used to streamline the movie's Rocket Raccoon and Adam Warlock stories. In the comics, it was the High Evolutionary who gave Adam Warlock a new purpose in life by asking him to save Counter-Earth from the Man-Beast. The Man-Beast may or may not be part of the equation in the MCU's version of the story, but the High Evolutionary can still share his comic counterpart's role in Adam Warlock's life by recruiting the hero for an important mission. Similar to what happened in the comics, Warlock may find a reason to exist by helping the High Evolutionary. He could be in the villain's service when Star-Lord's team finally crosses paths with him in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. The appearance of Adam Warlock in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 has been known for some time, but his debut being alongside the High Evolutionary confirms that Adam Warlock is about to have a major role in the MCU. Apart from Adam Warlock being stronger than Thanos, his range of abilities combines that of America Chavez, Captain Marvel, and the Hulk, so it never made sense for Volume 3 to give Adam Warlock a minor or negligible role. However, the presence of Chiwetel Ejiofor as the High Evolutionary has dismissed any doubts that the MCU would misuse the highly important comic book character that is Adam Warlock. The fact Adam Warlock is being played by Will Poulter, who's garnered his own following, definitely lends itself to Adam Warlock's MCU role being central to the plot, unlike the Guardians' own disappointing near cameo in Thor, Love and Thunder. With Guardians 3 bad guy High Evolutionary in the picture, it's all but confirmed that Adam Warlock will have a huge role not just in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, but the multiverse saga as well, especially if the MCU faithfully adapts both Adam Warlock and the High Evolutionary's comic book origins.